Fashion stop us all. Come on with it, Chairman. Bring me right on in. Bring me right on in. Let's get right to it. I want to go off the Chairman speaking. Come right, bring me right in. They try to give me some music. I'm ready to go right in. I'm ready to come right in. They took the Hampton House. Yes, I ain't heard that. I ain't seen that young brother in a minute. Yeah. I think we good. Somebody let Sister Comrade know I'm good. I'm ready. Come on, come in, bring me in. Got my coffee, got the chairman with me. I'm ready to roll. Free them all, my brother. Silas in the building. That's all right. Bring me in. Let me get in with the chairman. I'm sweating up this coffee. Y'all ready to roll? Come on, let me get that intro. Let me go. Let me get them. I need somebody to come right, bring me right in. Who on the board? Who on the boards? Who on the boards? Come on, bring me. I'm ready to go. Ready to roll. I'm ready to go. Ready to go. Can you hear me? I'm ready to go. I'm ready to come on in. I'm ready. I'm ready. Come on in. Sister Conrad, bring me in. Bring me in. Somebody text him. Free them all.
Want me to redial?
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to Blog Talk Radio. Please hold to be able to listen. You are now in the host
queue. 929-477-3785. 929-477-3785. I've been gone for a while. I'm back to state. Come on, bring me in. I'm trying to get on in. Text her, let her know I'm ready to roll. I can tell who on the boards already. It won't let you stop the music. It won't let you stop. What's happening? So what can we do? Okay, let it play out? Okay. All right. Y'all bear with us and cub with us, y'all. We got some technical difficulties. They saying they're not going to stop the chairman. I can't stop the chairman. That's a proletarian revolutionary struggle. Live for the people. Why don't you struggle for people? Why don't you die for the people? All right. Now we good? Woo! All right, y'all. We locked and loaded, man. The chairman won't stop it, man. Hey, did this here. All right, we on Intellectual Radio, yo. Hey, Freedom on Radio, we live and direct. Let's get locked and loaded. Another episode, January 18th, 2023, y'all. 2023, y'all. Bear with us, as we say, cub with us. I know we coming in a little delay, man. But hey, that's a youngster, Third Eye PC did a video for the Streets Chairman Fred Streets Party 3 years ago. In fact, we got a BPPC APB all points bulletin out for him. We ain't seen him in a while. That's a song he did right there. But that was, of course, Chairman Fred Hampton giving it to us, y'all. January 18th, I almost said 2022, but 2023, y'all. Again, man, the spirit of making history, taking history, taping history, man. Let's take a pause for the calls. Y'all, you know what I'm saying? Hey, make a call. Let somebody know that we are live and direct again. Let's get locked and loaded for another episode. And the calling numbers are 929-477-3785. 929-477-3785. Press 1. Of course, again, man, I'm still, that was Chairman Fred speaking. I am, as Chairman Fred would say it too, proletarian revolutionary, intoxicated to be astronomically intimidated. In other words, in plain layman's terms, too high of the people to be shook up. I want y'all to tag team with us tonight. We try to keep the Hove to the last minute before the flyers get out. So, because contradictions are moving a million miles a minute, and especially in these times where we try to get, catch stuff not in a reactionary way, but catch it hot at the plate. Just got some news earlier today in regards to the Bank of America, Zelle, and the banks. So I'm gonna need somebody, I'm gonna need y'all to jump in with us, because the deal is, even though we may not be too informed on all these subjects ourselves, we don't come as know-it-alls. The deal is, we want to set an arena where we can have a conversation in the correct context, and that being a political context. So if any one of our listeners can help us, any information that they've heard about, or they may be more in tune what's happening, so we can give us some information. We can, try to put it in political context. Historically, you try to say political context. So we could talk about, like, about the fall of the banks, what's going down with and a lot of times these contradictions, you're like, why is it contradiction with the resources of money? Because who prints the money? The government gonna shut down. It's not enough economy, or even different stuff about the hackers and so on and so forth. We talk about everything. We talk about floods, the disproportionate impact on who it, who it impacts, hard. And when we even get to hear about it being an issue, it must hit a certain sector of the community. In other words, it's an old axiom that goes something to the extent, like something to this. When white people catch a cold, we catch pneumonia. Like they said, a lot of times black people didn't even know that the Great Depression even existed. It's like, it was so bad in the 1920s, stock markets had crashed. We started, people had to eat potato soup, and black folks were like, what? Y'all got some potatoes? You know what I'm saying? So we want to put this in context. What's happening? What happened with the discussion about the banks? If you have any information, feel free to call in, tap in. As we say, cub in with us at 929-477-3785 and press 1. Also, there's a case in Memphis. I think it's Tyree Nichols. Police, and I don't know if he subsequently was murdered, or I know he beat pretty bad. You see the images. So any updates, insight? While I'm speaking, you might can type in these names: Tyree Nichols. So if you can check in there, let us know. We want to talk about that. We're gonna open the door. Because again, we don't come, we want to heighten the contradiction, so we had these conversations in the correct context. I say not in the correct context because a lot of times we talk about different subject matters. We come in with we forced to have like a reactionary assessment, or the way the ruling class says, okay, you can talk about this, but this is how you're gonna talk about it. But we gonna talk about it and put in the correct political context. So, of course, this latest case of police terrorism in Memphis, Tennessee. So that also we're gonna be talking about. The acknowledgement of legacies in general, again, legacy, but in particular the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King, who was assassinated, and we stress that again, assassinated April 4th, 1968, April 4th, 1968, and which we know we've had this discussion before. Like contrary to what even that the term assassination as opposed to it being limited to some some racist right dude James Earl Ray just happened to be across the Lorraine Motel. Happened to forgot what sort of rifle they claim he posted. He had just happened to be in the direct range to be able to do this hit. But we want to talk about that and talk about even why is it important. A lot of people say, well, it doesn't make a difference. Assassination, died, whatever the case may be. And even to put like in the context of Dr. King's family, his lineage, I don't know if everyone's familiar with, his mother being straight out, assassinated inside the church, like literally. His brother, Albert King, who was an avid swimmer, you know what I'm saying, an avid swimmer. And they claim he is supposed to drown in a swimming pool. It kind of reminds me, like even what they said about Rodney King, that in the swimming pool. So, the latest thing was calls for some neat discussion. The 10 million, I repeat, the $10 million, $10 million, not memorial, but the monument that was supposed that it was erected in all places of Boston, and it was erected in regards and respect for Dr. King. And we say everything's political, timing, location, what in this post. And there's a lot of people saying, what is it? You know what I'm saying? And it reminded me of an old Sanford and Son episode, and how even art, so there was a scene where, Fred Fox portraying Fred Sanford and Lamont, and they went to this high class art museum. And they say, "What is it?" And they're making jokes. And, and a lot of times we say, "Well, our taste is not up to that point. We have not developed to really understand art." But and you start hearing about the different prices, the stuff that's going around. How much stuff costs, and art in particular. You know what I'm saying? Like even artists will tell you about over subjectivity, and like with artists. But the reality is, even if a person attempts to say something that's subjective, reality is the objective reality trumps that. In other words, the portraits or the Mona Lisa, the portraits of Jesus, the famous artists, and you say, well, this it may artists may say, well, I'm just saying this from my particular viewpoint, how I see something, but the implications, that can defy, like even. And I know I'm gonna be real careful. I know you gotta be careful. You start talking, like I'm with even with the biblical scholars, is with the Bible. I think it's Revelations chapter 1 verse 14. I think they say like the description, the physical description, how they describe Jesus. Like the hair like wool. The feet like bronze. Even geographically, the location. And an artist, that's how you see an arrogance to say, well, this is how I see it, regardless of whatever other dynamics you're talking about. Um, uh, and we want to talk about the politics of art, you know what I'm saying? And you can, and similar to like even food, like in food channels, you can look at certain historical periods and say, wait a minute, this is who was occupying that land, who was colonizing the people at that particular time, so on and so forth. So we want to talk about that. And this, like I said, there are definitions for, for a chair, for a microphone, you know what I'm saying? For Facebook, there's a definition. But, like even, I was a post the other day, an individual said, they're going to bring Hollywood to Africa. And I said, oh, no. And people said, what? Why you say that, Cham? I said, damn. I said, heads up, man. What you want to, and mind you, the movie industry, like even in Nigeria, the type of movies that come out of Nigeria, I mean, the work ethic, like, I can't, I don't even know the actual number of movies that are produced in Nigeria daily. So a lot of times so we say, like, can I say this? People with the politics, we get caught up believing the white man's ice is cold and the black man's ice. And like you said, well, you have certain dynamics of movie making, but there's a politic that comes with Hollywood, and that politic is a lot bigger than just lights, camera, action. What I'm saying? Like, people like even as a recent, people talk about the contradictions that occur in Hollywood, what I'm saying? With the, they refer to the casting couch and what you know saying what you got to do to get a scene, so on and so forth. And a lot of people talk like it's an aberration or they're shocked to hear about it. I mean, even and I tell we hear about these. Sometimes we subjective. We hear about sexual assaults or whatever, whether it be in any respective field or genre. The movie industry, the music industry, the streets, or even let's go even chattel slavery. There's a subjective view assessment that it's just when men on women, and what I'm saying. I tell people they negate every other the race contradiction and the gender as opposed to similar to like the assessment where they say rape, even clinical psychology say it's not a sexual crime. I think it says it's psychologicals, and we wouldn't go for that. Like it's even political. People they minimize, like they say like it's a code. Even in the prisoners, they say well, even the prisons have a code. You know what I'm saying? Man, when you come into jail for certain with children, rapes, so on and so forth, and even the body, like like comedian James Richard Pryor made a joke about how brothers would be out on the corners and they would be holding their private parts, and they said, "Brother, why you doing that?" It's a white man that took everything else from trying to hold on to this, and but the political dynamics of that. So when we talk about so to really want to up the energy, just to have these elementary assessments. We talk about different contradictions. Again, art. Well, this is how I see it, so on and so forth. So cut to the chase. There's this, I don't know if it's bronze, this not statue, but this piece is erected, and I mean it was all type of assessments coming. I mean from here to there. So they say, man, what did you see that as? And they later say it was supposed to be the arms of Dr. King embracing Coretta Scott King. But we want to know your thoughts on that. So you see it, $10 million. And I say I could imagine the backroom meetings that occur in Boston. I repeat, in Boston. I could imagine. Because I tell you, we see pieces. We say, oh, who's the artist? I think the guy's name is Randall Scott. I get a correction, clarity on his name. But like we look at movies, look at art, we look at rappers, the rap industry. We see the face on it. A lot of times people be shocked at who's writing the lyrics, it was like even like the videos, who's in control of the videos, who's controlling the image and all that. You best believe with $10 million in Boston, you best believe, hey, I mean, do some history on Boston. Look at sports. You look at different. You say different basketball teams. You say, okay, Detroit, Pitt. Isaiah Thomas. Lakers, Kobe Bryant, Chicago, Michael Jordan, Boston. You look who they to this day, regardless of all the Robert Parishes and all them other catches. That's the trend. Man, Larry Bird. You know what I'm saying? And this is the whole thing. The dynamics of and I've been to Boston before. And they say the significance of it being there is this is what Dr. King and Coretta Scott King had met. But we want to talk about it, your thoughts in the country, the politics of art. Art. We live in the record free on my radio here, Intellectual Radio, y'all. The calling number is 929-477-3785. Press 1 to get in. Do we have any callers in queue?
Free them all, but the chairman, no callers in queue. Callers, if you'd like to come into the queue, please press 1. Free them all.
Free them all. Okay, so we got people coming in. Got cuz I see her popping in. Right on. Rachel, free them all. Yes, indeed. I need okay for again. I want to also we if any callers can follow back up with us. I know we got just came we came back from Iowa. Devonna Walker, the case, and any updates on that is I think the funeral is said to be this Saturday, but we've been doing some research on in for those who are not familiar with the case, Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And I say Iowa, the politics of Iowa. Your sister was stabbed to death. But was referenced as a nigger, and that's important to point in because these are elements that you have. What you call them? Circumstantial factors. It's a term they use, like factors that must be inclusive in the conversation. You know what I'm saying? And it comes to me 1 minute term I'm trying to think of, but it's just in the case of Indian, there were people discussing well, was she in the threshold of their house, was she in an altercation with the young lady? The deal is, race is something that you cannot negate, first of all, in any conversation. You know what I'm saying? And I don't, and I know there's a, like in Chicago, he's trying to say there's a melting pot, and you know what I'm saying. America in particular tries to put this facade, and that the race contradiction, you know, this is, all people from all nationalities can come in and make it, so on and so forth. And it's ironic that this is, I mean, this is the big kahuna, this is the big kahuna of capitalism and race. I put something up not too long on social media, and a young lady tapped in. She said, "Well, this white people." I said, "Well, capitalism, imperialism was born out of white power. So I mean, that's the politics of it." And you in other times, when you have situations even within the black community, there are different dynamics that people there point out. Well, this person was a older person, or even this person lived on this side of town, so on and so forth. But there's a continuous attempt to duck and dodge not the elephant, but the elephant in the room, that being the race contradiction. And like even the case in Indianapolis, there was a white lady who stabbed a young Asian lady recently, and I don't know if the Asian lady died or not, but the race. I forgot the term. If she said something or not, whatever term she used, but that's up front. They're acknowledging that contradiction, and and I tell we're forced, or there's attempt to make it like that. We just us even acknowledging it that we're racist. Like um, just even saying like that people say that's why I knew, like, even when people, that's why that was some of the telltale signs when there was the first discussion about Black Lives Matter. That it was tamed through the door. It's what do you mean tamed through the door? For people, I mean, certain things you look and say, okay, if the ruling class is comfortable with saying that word black, you know what I'm saying? It's been vetted. You know what I'm saying? There's certain things you come in and say, okay, it's been vetted, because there's something in the black community, just even acknowledging it. It's like, you're taught to believe that you're saying, you are an aggressor, or just even acknowledging. Like if you say, soon as you later on, you see when it, you seen later on when it took like a certain dynamic, some people didn't get the script, they didn't get the game plan, and some people actually, coming in talking about with talking about the black community, and you seen say, okay, well, they say, okay, it's time to dilute it, even though we came through the door, say, let me scratch that, let me back up on that, let me reassess that, because it's important to note it's important to note that initially there is organic before, and organic movements with, saying, and actions in our community. Even if we don't notice it, a lot of times we don't see it until the ruling class has took it and tapped into it. You talk about, it's kind of like the coca leaf, in places like Afghanistan and so on and so forth. The coca leaf in its raw, natural, or in its form, what I'm saying? Though people say, well, I never heard of that, you know what I'm saying? But this it exists, you know what I'm saying? And this is something that is used for medicinal purposes, or just, you know what I'm saying? And it's not used in a detrimental way. And a lot of times people don't see it. A lot of people didn't they come into contact with it. It's been cut. So the chemicals, capitalism has touched, put its hit on it. And you see, you see, even the color taken up out of it, and you see what for the crack phenomenon, hip hop, a phenomenon that that make this just something that's happening, in the boroughs of New York in particular, and but the ruling class have their ear to the ground. They say, what's going on? What's happening on that plantation? What are they doing? What are they? So it's like, okay, what's happening? What the word is on the street that they're talking about is so intense. They're talking about going to Washington D.C. and shut down everything. What do you mean shut down everything? I mean, no planes going to leave, so on and so forth. So the ruling class, likes former U.S. President John F. Kennedy, they say their first thing, they call representatives of the petty bourgeoisie. They say, okay, they call for meetings. Malcolm X talked about the Big Six and said, now, how can we stop this? So we can't stop it because you know what I'm saying. Because what they didn't start it, and that's so I want to note that. So the deal is there was you look at the resistance and the bubbling of the groundswell from the community, and you know what I'm saying. Then the ruling class they don't create it. You know what I'm saying. So that's important to distinguish. That's important to distinguish. Is you know what I'm saying? They take phenomena, they still saying incorrectly define them, incorrectly assess them, and flip it and make it work in the disinterest of the people, whether it be phenomena such as hip hop, whether it be even our movements. You know what I'm saying? And that's why it's important to come through the door or let you know to say with ideology, a structure, an identity of this is what this is. And you know what I'm saying? Because any liberalism that's open to wishy-washy, like you know what I'm saying, like I told this young brother who had just came into was brought into not came into was brought into the prisons. And I remember seeing him, it was Joliet prison. I remember the conversation like it was yesterday. And I would see him move around, you know, so you could see so he wasn't clear, of identity, whether it be his respective religion or was street organization, none of that. And I said, be real careful, young brother. This is the wrong place to be looking for an identity, for there are individuals who will give it to you. You know what I'm saying? So they're coming through the door with a clarity on this, what this is, Fremont, current chairman of the Young Lords, just tapped in right on, love and respect, right on. And ironically, we're talking, we had a discussion yesterday where I reached out to some of our comrades. I got to receive some other phone calls the other day, and people saying, I just watched Channel 9 News, and they were saying that the Black Panthers did this in Chicago with this group, and automatically certain forces knew that they said, no, we know, anything that, in fact, Brother Pastor Dave and others that call and say, man, their political muscle has got to the point that you can recognize it. No, that's not that. You know what I'm saying? It's important to be that you just not, because I tell people it's attractive and it's idealism say we all want the same thing. But the deal, and that doesn't exist. You know what I'm saying? I know people people tell us this, this like in Africa, we were all together. No, there were contradictions existed. There were different tribes, different languages, and there were contradictions. There were wars. Yeah. Different dynamic though. You know what I'm saying? And and the ruling class, they would study it, and it was different contradiction, like and even your physical structure, like who would taking place in the Carolinas with the tobacco fields, as opposed who would be placed in Mississippi in the cotton fields, and the different dynamics to take that into account. And that's important to come through the door. You know what I'm saying? And this goes back to something I really want to talk about. I want people to call in their thoughts about like even art. I remember one young lady, saying was coming into our organization, and and for those who know, one of our main mantras is that we are the great grandchildren of Garvey, the offspring of Malcolm and the cubs of Panthers. Again, the great grandchildren of Garvey, offspring of Malcolm and the cubs of Panthers, and she wasn't even in the arrogance. You know what I'm saying? Wow, I'm tripping. Even this is eerie. I'm talking about this. You know what I'm saying? Even when she was from, I don't want to. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of Boston, it was crazy. And I said, "What is that?" It was sent to me, and it was the flag the Garvey gave us, the liberation flag, and the colors were switched around. And I called. I said, "Wait a minute. What is this?" And she said, "I mean, like, no harm, no intended. This is how it looks better to her with the colors being moved around." Now, mind you, for those who don't know some background, or better yet, background on the flag, this is something that the great late Marcus Mosiah Garvey had presented to us, something that regards religious perspective. You know what I'm saying? Whether you were at home in Africa or throughout the diaspora, Brazil, wherever you at, you know what I'm saying, the Americas, something that we can identify with is African people, and negated that, and the arrogance was like, well, this is how I see it. And they'll say, we talking about this, like even this piece, the politics of that, you know what I'm saying? And Garvey does, I mean, it was attacked, you know what I'm saying? I mean, contrary to what people are taught to believe that, J. Edgar Hoover, his work was directed at the mafioso, nothing to be further from the truth. In fact, J. Edgar Hoover denied the mafia even existed. You know what I'm saying? In fact, his career was not only propelled but birthed of, you know what I'm saying, of coming from a district attorney to, you know what I'm saying, um, based on his attack on Marcus Mosiah Garvey, the UNIA, Universal Negro Improvement Association. You know what I'm saying? And nothing that's long to follow up with that career with the infamous COINTEL program, which is created by, you know, J. Edgar Hoover, architected by the former deputy director of the FBI, William Sullivan. But um, Garvey was in prison. Garvey was in prison. He was, prior to him being placed in prison, he was attacked. You know, and I'm not just talking about the usual suspect. We say, you know, people say, oh yeah, we heard the white man came. Oh no, go back and do your research. Go back and look at, you know, the utilization of the Communist Party, W.E.B. Du Bois and others. Go back and look at the struggles that Garvey had right when he came to Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Yes, yes. Go back and look at the, you know what I'm saying, the slander, you know, so there was ways on Marcus Garvey. And you know what I'm saying, and him holding line. Look at this, even under intense conditions, the song he wrote entitled "Be Cool." He wrote that, you know what I'm saying, while he was locked up. Go look at the how, you know what I'm saying, the balance. You talk about the people say, well, what about the women involved in the movement? Go look at the role. Go look at the role of, you know, both of his first wife and the second one, Amy Jacques Garvey, who edited, you know what I'm saying? I mean, the philosophies and opinions of Marcus Garvey, you know, even when he was, she pushed him out the way when they tried to shoot him, you know what I'm saying? So this is the history that we come from. And he's placed in the Atlanta Federal Penitentiary, and only um, released under condition that the ship. Before we go to it's imperative also to put in context even the case he was given. You know, they were saying, you know, about mail fraud and other stuff. A lot of people automatically, well, he wasn't a good businessman, so on and so forth. And these are a lot of people automatically, you know, just attack the people. And I tell people, like, I know, I don't want to put this brother on Front Street. Other day, we talking about a movie that's based in Chicago. Courtney B. Vance played in. And it was really getting close to home about the politics of Chicago, the police department frame. It was getting real close to home, and they filmed season 2. They canceled it. And they canceled it and said, "No, excuse me, they didn't even say nothing. They just canceled it." Automatically, people say, "Oh man, the viewership went up. We need to come. Black people need to start supporting us." Whoa! That's definitely not the case. They have ways. I mean, like, you know, I know a lot of people believe you. Oh man, son, I got 5 million hits on it. They have. I mean, the record industries, they can press buttons and, you know, say, bring up how many hits you want to. You know what I'm saying? You say how many hits you got. It's kind of like a high tech way of produce parties. You know what I'm saying? You come by. That's the owners, his staff. You know, the kitchen workers, everybody standing out in the long line. The cold, like, oh, that party got to be jumping because all the people out there waiting. You know what I'm saying? So now it's like going fishing. It's baited you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like you put some of the other fish on a hook, and the fish come for it. You know what I'm saying? So they baited you. You know, all of a sudden this is a lure. It's not even no real fish. The party, it's not even no real patrons. You know what I'm saying? Them hits on social media don't even be no real. But once they fishing for you, so they could have very easily, you know, say even with Garvey. You know what I'm saying? It was an attack. In fact, one of the first Negro, if not the first Negro, a Negro agent vacateur was put in place at, you know what I'm saying, due to his assignment to attack Garvey. So that's put in context. So I'm saying to say that for him to come with that color and that formation, the red for the blood, the black for the people, and the green for the land, and was nothing. I said, you know, the artist, the arrogance. I had this struggle on a number of different, you know, you know, artists. You know what I'm saying? It's like really, like you say, well, how could this person even see this? And you'll say, what, you know, what reinforces the belief that this is okay? You know what I'm saying? And again, we can say, you know, people say, well, to me, this is that. The reality is, you know, something has an objective reality. You know, so we talk about Dr. King. You know what I'm saying? Again, who we already on the thin line with even being clear who he is. You know what I'm saying? Because most people, if this limit him to one speech. I mean, average person with he had one speech. I have a dream. In fact, there's a joke going on social media now. They ask children who is Dr. King? And that person, he died for our sins. You know what I'm saying? They have no. So you already, like I tell people with the Black Panther Party, you already dealing with a taboo subject. You already dealing with a subject already. You follow what I'm saying? You already come, you know what I'm saying? And to play any games, you know what I'm saying? It's like you saying, man, hold on, man. This already coming through the door. Now the clarity on what we dealing with. You can't afford the luxury. Black people, we can't afford. I mean, well, white people, they can afford certain luxury. They say, well, they comedians do this and that. It's certain things we can't afford to make no jokes about. You know what I'm saying? Like you see different memes about Dr. King. You know what I'm saying? People do the playing the games with the photoshopping. You know what I'm saying? Or Dr. King, Obama. I said, no, we already deprived of history already. We can't afford that. You know what I'm saying? You already, I mean, they're already telling you they don't know critical thinking. Can't, you mentioned Dr. King. You better not talk about what he said about Vietnam. You know what I'm saying? Intelligent. You go look at some of his speeches. You know what I'm saying? Intelligent. It's really an insult that they don't say they devalue him to one speech. You know what I'm saying? And you go back and look at, even when you came to Chicago, with the tax, you know what I'm saying, from daily machines, so on and so forth. So you coming through the door already. You're like, man, are we already shooting the dice, man? So to play games with that, you know what I'm saying? You say, wait, we a sculpture, a boss to say, man, and coming in Boston, what? Go do some history on Boston about the school desegregation. Why you? This, I just said about the basketball. You look at certain cities, you say, okay, it's black players. You go talk about different with the street element. You start naming different cities. Oh yeah, man, I know such and such. Yeah, this is you know what I'm saying your Bumpy Johnson, New York. You saw different guys and different leadership. Chicago, different. You was Boston. First thing them cats said, Whitey Bulger. Whitey Bulger. So you already to have a discussion about this man, period. In any scenario, you come to the door to Boston, a $10 million budget. $10 million budget. You can imagine them conversations back there with Boston. Believe that. We live in the Wreck and Free on radio, y'all. Y'all feel free to come on, tap in or give me y'all comments. What y'all thought about this. They'll say again. Everything is political, including art. 929-477-3785. Press 1. Any calls and cues, Sister Comrade?
Free them all, Brother Chairman. No callers in queue. Callers, if you'd like to come into queue, please press 1. Free them all.
Free them all. Okay, y'all. I need a little energy here. I need a little energy here. I need your thoughts. Where you at? We live in the rep. We on Intellectual Radio. We on Facebook. We on StreamYard. You know what I'm saying? We on Instagram. And make sure y'all tap in with us. You know what I'm saying? Also, I think the funeral for the Dewana Walker is this Saturday in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Out of the time, so from the family listening in, tapping let us know. Also, there's a big event going on February 11th at the UIC, sponsored by Jesse White. And it's gonna be some honoring of different actors who you really don't usually hear about. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, because the script be written a lot in so many cases. You know what I'm saying? Like you're like, damn, who was he? Before you get there, okay, this is who. Here's your here, here's your entertainers. Here's your activists, so on and so forth. So I'm honored and humbled to say that we are said to be honored, and people be on the ground. You know what I'm saying? That Dr. LaShawn, Dorothy Holmes, Cassandra Greer, host of others who you really don't be hearing about. Since on the command, some forces in particular, I believe Maya Huggins and others who are really working on this. And this is not to be ego tripping, but I think it's imperative also that people start, for the history, because again, you gotta be like even with this like this art subject, they'll go back and look and say, wait a minute, what was said? You know what I'm saying? I was on this piece yesterday about genealogy, and it was going through Carol Burnett's history, and her grandmother, she's raised by her grandmother, and they was going back and saying, to Carol Burnett, they was saying, well, you thought this was your father, and you thought this was your grandfather, and they went through all details. And they got through, who her grandmother divorced the one guy and married the other guy who's 10 years younger than her, but she went back, and it really was the grandfather who they thought Carol Burnett was. and I think 5 or 6 marriages. I'm listening for a number of things. I'm listening to like, had there been some black woman, how they just said it, you know what I'm saying? But it was like, in fact, when they talk about the different marriages she had, you know what I'm saying? She left this one guy, even, Carol Burnett, he said, well, I know grandma was kind of friendly, you know what I'm saying? I say, and I'm saying, now this way back then, they were going through different notes in the divorce, the decree, where the guy said, hey, uh, the younger guy she married, the grandmother married later on, she didn't, she didn't, she never loved me. She loved dude, it's another guy, and went back to him. I said, now they going back and check. They put stuff in context, you know what I'm saying? What this found this paperwork, so on and so forth. They did what's the other lady name? Nene, look at the lady name. She's a comedian too. Did her also. But you look back, this is before like even a lot of that we had access to technology, different forms of technology. So there's gonna be certain things like you look at the pyramids, they look at art and they say, okay, this show what was going on this particular period. Like and the significance of art. Napoleon, um, Napoleon, the whole thing y'all hear about the 21 gun salute, that was strategic about what the nose. They said depicted negroid features in the width of the nose, the lips, and they kept on shooting the nose down up the Sphinx. So this shows you the significance of, you know what I'm saying? And mind you, art was practical even with us. It wasn't just come to the Sphinx and see this beautiful art piece. It wasn't this abstract, you know what I'm saying? Had to be like even like one thing like you colonize the colonizer will get you to do stuff that's detached. In other words, just do art for art's sake or do this, engage in uh, 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 different activities, or even people. Y'all hear us talk about the culture nationalists. A lot of times they talk about culture in a detached way. We respect the dynamic of culture, so we need a culture. You know what I'm saying? But it should be intertwined with who you are. You know what I'm saying? To tangible realities. A lot of times the ruler class get people to engage in art and different discussions. In other words, it's not no concrete connection to it. Like I was this past weekend when I was in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. This Mama Pettis, the Duana Walker's great grandmother. Yeah, that's her great grandmother. So we were sitting there, and ironically, the game that came on the video game, Mortal Kombat, Grand Theft Auto. And this is like she was just noticing it was on the big screen, and I just commented about this, about the contradiction about this carjackings has to be connected to this whole thing about this Grand Theft Auto, and it was so vivid. This big screen, it was so clear. And I'm watching it, and we watched it, and then even Mama Pettis was saying, she said, "Wait a minute, I can't win." I said, "I want to tell these children not to steal." And it's you watching this game, it's encouraging it. And I'm even asking the children, and you can see this is a microcosm of all what's happening to our people. You can see like people make jokes about how grown men get caught in these video games. You know what I'm saying? To be stuck in it. They said be all day playing the game, but you can see how the transfixed the children were, and we were talking about. I was asking the question like, okay, this guy's taking his car and he was running over sheep, dogs, doing this riding on people. I said, what's the purpose? I mean, they was like, he's trying to get home. I said, well, I'm understanding why he got to go run over this person. You're trying to get home. You know what I'm saying? You trying to duck and dodge. You're not trying to tear the car up. And that's what that's one of the trappings or the characteristics of imperialism. You look at different dynamics, like you see the white lady or the white man in Africa sitting on top of the elephant. You're like, I'm asking, they must be really hungry. No, we got a whole room full of tusks and dead carcasses of elephants. You know what I'm saying? It's no need for it. You know what I'm saying? It's opposed to you say, okay, like even when you engage in battle, what's the need for it? Like I give another example recently. Um, Meek Mill, our rap artist in Philadelphia, they was talking. I said, notice when he said he was in Africa, he said he never seen witness the type of love he had seen that, and he had said it was a big thing. I mean, a big TMZ had a big piece up there how he was robbed of his phone. But you look at even how he put out the call. He said, "Man, if you might get my phone, get that." He joint. That's the Philadelphia term too, y'all. I remember to go visit Mumia Abu Jamal. He like, with that joint, the joint. That's Philadelphia term. But it wasn't antagonistic for him to even ask if I can get that phone back to him. But you like even the theft of the phone, as opposed to like when you look at the carjackings and stuff in the states, there's like Field Marshal George Jackson said, capitalism, it not only affects the economy, but it affects the psychic of the people. You be like, why did cat go kill a dude? You know what I'm saying? You can just see the disdain, the hatred. You know what I'm saying? Like just the unnecessary killing. You know what I'm saying? Take the car, kill him, shoot you. It's not no when they try. You know what I'm saying? To stick up, you'll get some food for the house. You know, you took this, and that's the psychic that it produces. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it does. You be get this comedian brother name. Well, Dave Chappelle also commented on, but this other brother, DC, his name is DC. Not DC Young Fly. It's another brother, older brother. I met this brother too, very intelligent brother. Man, I think his brother name. But he said when they asked him, they approached him about playing a woman, and he said there are eligible women right here that would like to play the role. You know, so he said, why would you want me to play that? You know what I'm saying? And see, this is what like you say, well, it goes. It's not a necessity. You know what I'm saying for to do this. I mean, the gluttony and it's the exploitation. You know what I'm saying? Like you look at, there's a piece one time on the Animal Channel I was watching, and they was talking about how they're gonna take these pigs and they're gonna inject them with this steel. The steel piece is gonna inject to reproduce other piglets. And the guy was saying, I don't understand. The quality of the meat tastes better with the pigs having organic, they just organically engage in this, in sex. You say, is something wrong with the male pigs? Are they not, he said, no, they doing it. But he said, well, do you get a more quantity of pigs? He said, dude said, no. So the interview was kind of confused. Like, why is you telling this still, you ain't gonna invest this money? Then you start finding out who's getting funded, the corporations, the steel, produce the steel. You'll say, even to my war. You be like, why they going to the country said they're gonna yield, we attacking them. You come in, they say when George Bush Jr. came in the office, they say swear you had your hand and swear you in the office. His hand wouldn't even put down good. He got Condoleezza Rice and Cole and the me. We going to Saddam Hussein. We going Iraq for what? For what? Where was the mass destruction? Like, hold on, where that come from? The contract's been already made. Man, you go to Halliburton, Chinese company. It's already deal has been already. So we have to. That's the politics of the deal. Saying we come with this naivety, like, oh yeah, well maybe they got to go to war to defend the democracy, or blah. Man, some people in the country tell we don't want no smoke. You're like, man, we got this. You happen to be right here. This Afghanistan, this canal come through here. We finna run this through here. We need this here. We got plans for the cartel later on down the road. Bill Clinton come through with NAFTA, North American Free Trade Agreement. Other companies saying America, we can produce it cheaper here. Like, dude, this bigger than you. Don't flatter yourself. You know what I'm saying? You look at different movies and stuff. You're like, man, why are they doing this here? They know it's gonna create a crime situation in Chicago. You be like, how they got to stop they got this group already created stop the violence, even though violence even happening. Wait for it. You know what I'm saying? Wait for it. These video games, you ain't gonna be no psychic. Detail. Go look at Grand Theft Auto if y'all can. Tell me, go just take a minute. Go look at those who are not. Go look at Grand Theft Auto. Look at the details of it. Check it out. Look at the details of it. And tell me, you know what I'm saying? Well, I know some of you'll be saying, well, we gotta just be it's just a game and don't take it seriously, blah blah. Man, do this here. Do this here. The impact of the images. You know what I'm saying? Man, I remember us walking to get our Adidas gym shoes, you know what I'm saying? Just from Ron DMC, my Adidas, you know what I'm saying? I remember that, you know what I'm saying? The impact, I remember hitting the cigar, Rakim, follow the leader, you know what I'm saying? I remember getting follow leader put on the back of the Blazer. Those who know me back in the day, remember that? Man, Rakim, I told Rakim about that. He said, what? Yeah. Yeah. Man, come on now. No callers in queue, y'all. I need y'all to tap in. Let us know where we at, y'all. 741, 740. Okay, yep. 929-477-3785 and press 1. Always throw this in there. Make sure y'all, whatever support y'all can, always, you know what I'm saying, dollar sign, cash app, dollar sign, save the Hampton House. Go to PayPal. If I repost it up there, you know what I'm saying. Appreciate you. Where you at? You been putting the post back up there lately? I know you got the children. You got the, y'all get. Let me say y'all get the children. That's important. You know what I'm saying. Like people say, you know, my grandmother's house, my grandfather, no, the grandparents, so on and so forth. And speaking of couples, man, I'm gonna give out condolences. You know, she got to be a hell of a lady for me. This lady's a judge. Judge Toller, whose husband she referred to as Big E. Big E. I think he passed at 71 years old. And I mean, and the advice, the intelligence of this lady, man, she be on it. And, Judge just told her, yeah, she done like the couples thing with the hip hop, but before that, divorce court, phenomenal lady. My condolences to her family. Um, that Courtney B. Vance, Angela Bassett, you know, again, phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? Denzel Washington, Paul Washington, these are people that, in the industry I'm talking about. I mean, but we got examples, you know what I'm saying? Y'all be seeing me put up different, we first, community couples, you know what I'm saying? Post them up. These images that, you know what I'm saying? Because this is in contrast to what the meat, like you look at how they they'll tell out of them people main faces we can't show this because they know the images alone how it impacts people. Just like I said, the impact of James Evans, you know what I'm saying, Florida, you know what I'm saying, the good times, the impact. And I would tell somebody, say, you have a different child. This is not to be subjective, like I'm going to anybody in particular, but you listen to, man, I put up the post. I just sister had a phenomenal commentary about the song with Money Bag Yo and Glorilla. And the sister say, she said, I don't know. She say, there are people who are looking for love and have love, and you know what I'm saying, like relationships. And I've looked at that in contrast to Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell. You know, this is how you, and you go listen to the contrast, man. I'm talking about just the toxic, the disdain that's bred. You know what I'm saying? You can feel it. You know what I'm saying? And as you do, at the generation, you make it, comfortable to it. You know what I'm saying? You can become normalized. You know what I'm saying? Become normalized. So again, everything's political, man. I need y'all to call in, y'all thoughts about this. You know what I'm saying? This country in regard to this. I think it's referred to as a sculpture of Dr. King, Chris Scott King. Tell me now, why wouldn't they just touch something more concrete to say, okay, well, let's talk about Dr. King? Both of them is embraced. You know what I'm saying? You got to play these word games. You know what I'm saying? In this post-racial society. No callers in queue. Okay, we gonna club out early tonight, y'all. Want to hit y'all with that? Hit y'all with that? Definitely, you know what I'm saying. Keep make sure I get no calls in queue for we club out. No comments, no questions. I wish we could put
No problem with you, callers. If you'd like to come into queue, please press 1.
right on. We can't pull that Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell. I think it was Ain't No Mouth in that, something like that. Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell. It was a hell of a song. Let's get it for next week. Y'all let us know too. Whatever support y'all can hit us up. We're gonna be going out for the funeral service of Dewana Walker. Um, Cedar Rapids, Iowa this Saturday. Let's keep y'all there with the case in Memphis, Tennessee. I think it's Tyree Nichols. Also, as always, we always pushing the case from guys that kept save the Hampton House. On our club and community calendar, we got some big days coming up. February 17th, birthday of Visionary Minister UEP Newton. Also, be ready for some controversies we got to have our guards up for. And we got some attempts to hijack some more attempts to hijack the legacy of the Black Panther Party. I know y'all be like, damn, Cham, how you think I feel? I got to sleep with a political bulletproof vest on. I mean, like literally, like this is Champ, take a break. I said, I'm scared to close my eyes. I mean, every time we turn around, it's a constant attempt to hijack this legacy, man. Real talk. You know what I'm saying? And this, hey, his legacy is more important in our life, man. Dr. King's legacy. I seen a piece with Richard Pryor was talking about it, you know what I'm saying? And see, The monument in D.C., the statue they did from D.C., a Chinese man supposed to have done that one. And even Maya Angelou, they had to go back and redo some of the words. Yeah. The tall white monument to D.C., it was some word they said, well, we just editing for space, you know what I'm saying? You gotta be real careful with these jokers now. And Maya Angelou said no, because the way they worded it, took one word out, it made him appear to be arrogant. You know what I'm saying? So you have to you have to you subjective. You like, oh, they understand what we're talking about. No, you have to certain things, the emotions, how was you know what I'm saying? And other people communities they stress this, man. You gotta be really on point with you know what I'm saying. Because sometimes these are people's first time acknowledging this here, first contact. Sometimes people probably listen. Boston. It's probably their first time even to talk about Dr. King in public. You know what I'm saying? So you have to acknowledge that and say, wait, this is your first, and it sticks in your mind. It sticks in your mind. One of my comrades was telling me that their daughter was seeing going through they're showing a red book, and Chairman Mao Zedong's picture was there, and the daughter was not even 2 years old, not even 2 years old. So that's not Chairman Fred. That's not the chairman. It's not even 2 years old. This is the impact. You know what I'm saying? This is we have to take. You know what I'm saying? So you with your first, you know what I'm saying? Your first context, your certain dynamics. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be sure to be conscious about that, y'all. Yes, indeed. Everything is political, including that of art, y'all. Yes, indeed. Again, y'all, man, y'all tap in, put the word out. You know what I'm saying? Keep your heads up, eyes on the fist clench, y'all. We coming up with on February. Our logo, our metric is Black people are on the verge of becoming history. So again, spirit of making history, taking history, y'all. Keep your heads up, eyes open, and fist clench, y'all. What's it called? Free them all. Tune in again. We're gonna do this on the same time, same station next week, y'all. That's what it is. Free them all. Scummer, take